If you barely post photos of yourself online, this isn't about being shy or antisocial. Psychologists have discovered something fascinating about your personality, and it might explain why you're actually more emotionally intelligent than most people scrolling right now. Let's dive into what the research reveals. Social media has conditioned us to believe that visibility equals value, but there's a growing group of people who've completely rejected this narrative. They're not hiding, they're choosing differently. And according to psychology research, their choice reveals profound insights about confidence, mental health, and what real self-worth actually looks like in the digital age. Today, we're breaking down the 5 powerful psychological traits that define people who refuse to perform their lives online, and why they might be the most emotionally secure people you know. The privacy paradox. Most people think privacy means you have something to hide. Science says the opposite. Individuals with high privacy orientation, a well-documented psychological trait, aren't running from social connection. They're protecting something far more valuable, their mental bandwidth, the validation trap. Here's what happens to most social media users. They post a photo, they wait for likes, their mood shifts based on the response, their self-worth becomes externally dependent. But people who rarely post, they've cracked a different code, self-validation. What research shows? Studies on self-determination theory prove that people who validate themselves internally experience lower anxiety levels, greater emotional stability, higher life satisfaction, more authentic relationships. The bottom line, choosing privacy over popularity isn't weakness, it's psychological strength. It's the ultimate flex, feeling secure without needing the world to watch. Self-concept, clarity. Psychologists measure something called self-concept clarity, how well you understand your own values, beliefs, and identity. And here's the breakthrough. People who post less score significantly higher on this measure. Why this matters. When you have strong self-concept clarity, you don't need external opinions to define you. You're immune to trends that don't align with your values. You make decisions based on internal compass, not social pressure. You experience less identity, confusion, and existential anxiety. The comparison game. Most social media users are trapped in what psychologists call social comparison, constantly measuring themselves against others' carefully curated lives. But people who stay offline, they've already answered the question, who am I? They don't need your likes to confirm it. Real world impact. This clarity translates into stronger career decisions, healthier relationships, greater resilience during setbacks, a life built on authenticity, not approval. Secure versus fragile self-esteem. Fragile self-esteem, confidence that depends on constant validation, praise, and attention. One bad comment can shatter it. Secure self-esteem, confidence that exists independently. It doesn't fluctuate based on external feedback. Guess which type defines people who don't post? The selfie psychology research on selfie behavior reveals something uncomfortable. Frequent selfie posters often struggle with insecurity. They use photos as emotional regulation tools. Each post is an attempt to feel enough. But people who rarely post selfies, they already feel complete. What emotional security looks like. Lower anxiety, not worried about judgment, less approval seeking, no need to prove worth, higher goal achievement, energy directed toward real accomplishments, not digital performance, deeper relationships, quality over quantity. The truth, real confidence whispers, insecurity screams for attention. Internal locus of evaluation. People who stay quiet online often possess what's called an internal locus of evaluation. They judge themselves by their own standards, not society's. This is the opposite of the external locus of evaluation, where your sense of success, beauty, and worth depends entirely on what others think. The cost of performing. When you constantly post, you're essentially saying, tell me I'm interesting, tell me I'm attractive, tell me my life matters. But deep thinkers have already answered these questions privately. Introspection versus exhibition. Research shows that highly introspective people think before they speak or post, only share what genuinely matters to them, value meaningful conversation over superficial engagement, and prioritize depth in all areas of life. The digital detox effect. Studies on cognitive load prove that reducing social media activity improves focus and concentration, enhances creative thinking, increases emotional intelligence, and it deepens real-world relationships. Translation: less posting equals more living. Social comparison theory. Psychologist Leon Festinger discovered that humans instinctively compare themselves to others, but social media has weaponized this natural tendency. Here's the cycle. You scroll through perfect lives. You compare your behind the scenes to everyone's highlight reel. You feel inadequate. Then your mental health suffers. The awareness advantage. People who don't post heavily understand this psychological trap. They've recognized social media is performance art, not reality. Everyone's struggling behind the filters. Comparison is the thief of joy. Protecting peace matters more than gaining followers. Mental health research. Studies consistently link heavy social media use to increased depression and anxiety, lower self-esteem, sleep disturbances, fear of missing out, and body image issues. Meanwhile, people who limit their online presence report greater life satisfaction, better mental health, improved sleep quality, and stronger sense of purpose. The conscious choice. Non-posters aren't oblivious to social media's power. They're strategically resistant to it. They've chosen peace over performance, authenticity over approval, and real life over digital validation. What this all means. If you rarely post photos online, you're not antisocial, boring, insecure, or missing out. You're likely emotionally intelligent, self-aware, mentally healthy, genuinely confident, or living intentionally. The real flex. In a world obsessed with being seen, choosing invisibility is revolutionary. The strongest people don't need to announce their strength. The happiest people don't need to prove their happiness. The most confident people don't need validation from strangers. Final thought. Psychology shows us that the people who post the least often have the most going on internally. They've built a foundation of self-worth that doesn't crumble when the Wi-Fi goes out. So if this is you, you're not missing anything. You're protecting everything that matters. If this resonated with you, hit that like button. Ironically, I know. And subscribe for more psychology content that challenges what we think we know about human behavior. Drop a comment. Are you a frequent poster or do you stay low-key? I'd love to hear your perspective. See you in the next video.